Good morning. Good morning, everybody. This is Engineer Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India on this day, November 17, 2021. And this is Wednesday. It's 3:40 AM. मैं सूरज सिंह सिविल इंजीनियर भारत इंडिया से बोल रहा हूँ। आज दिनांक 17 नवंबर 2021 सुबह के 3:40 और आपके सामने आपसे वार्ता करने के लिए आई एम हियर टू टॉक टू यू अबाउट सेम इश्यू ऑफ क्वालिटी एंड सेफ्टी along with contracts, title being Civil Field Engineering Life Engineers Quality. Structure of contracts, that's red and silver. Safety, health, environment. Designs, construction methods, contracts, organizations, communication, coordination. Why I always be behind quality of materials. For me, it is very significant issue, and for you, it must also be very significant issue in very simple language. I try to communicate in simple language, not using very complex language, because everybody should realize communication. Everybody should realize good communication is required. And good communication means good coordination, and good coordination means correct transmission of information to make sure that your transmission is properly ensured, and is therefore very significant issue that we should be very careful about these topics I have put in on title of this video, because it is civil means public. For me, civil is public, field is engineering world, and engineering is talk about institutional engineering, what we do, a kind of construction institution, a kind of design institution where legalized work is done. Engineers are responsible for whatever activities of construction and designs are conducted all over the world. It's not only in our country but elsewhere. But there's a difference that elsewhere something is better than what we have, and also elsewhere something is same as what we do. There are so many countries where work is done according to requirements, or you can say in 90 to 95% compliance of engineering requirement or design requirements or specification requirements. That's a combination, we can say it's quality requirement. It's for quality, it's also safety, health and environment. And those constructions also are done in a way that we do in many countries, and also in some cases worse than we do. So you can say there is possibility of even higher class or lower class. In many countries I have seen buildings collapsing during construction as well as during surveys, and also it happens in our country, and also it happened in many other countries. I cannot exclusively say my country is worst. There are so many better countries than my country, and there are so many countries worse than my countries also. You can say engineering quality is ignored in many parts of world, and it's also upheld in many parts of world. Those countries which are serious, which spend money, and they think of future, they think of people, they think of everyone, they are better and they are very careful. In fact, far better careful than what care we do about. And that's good. In my country, Bharat, India, I should not criticize country, but fact is that you cannot keep your eyes closed also. हम अपनी आंखें बंद नहीं रख सकते ये देखकर कि गंद फैल रही है। उस गंद को फैलने से हमें अपने आप को रोकना है। वो गंद जो फैल रही है हमारे समाज में मतलब हमारे देश के समाज में, हमारे प्रोफेशन के समाज में, वो गंद को हटाना बहुत ज़रूरी है। वो गंद जो फैल रही है उसके जिम्मेदार कौन है वो हम जानते हैं, और आप भी सच पूछे तो जानते हैं। Sometimes It is very bad to say about that. इंजीनियरिंग को समझना, क्वालिटी को समझना, सेफ्टी को समझना, स्ट्रक्चर को समझना, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट को समझना, मेथड्स को समझना, कम्युनिकेशन समझना, कोऑर्डिनेशन समझना, ये सब उतना ही आवश्यक है इंजीनियर के लिए जितना रोटी खाना, पानी पीना, फूड लेना, सांस लेना, सोचना। बिना सोचे इंजीनियर बन नहीं सकता, इंजीनियर काम नहीं कर सकता। विदाउट थिंकिंग इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल टू बिकम इंजीनियर। विदाउट थिंकिंग इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल टू बी इंजीनियर। और हमें उन चोरों के हाथ में नहीं खेलना चाहिए जो हमें अपने हाथों में खिलाना चाहते हैं, क्योंकि हम ही हैं जो उनके रास्ते खोल देते हैं हेराफेरी करने के लिए और काम को ख़राब करने के लिए। गलत लोगों के हाथ का खिलौना बनने से रोकना होगा। विकास करना है तो सही तरह से करना होगा। ना पॉलिटिशियन के हाथ में खेलना होगा, ना किसी व्यापारी के हाथ में खेलना होगा। खेलना होगा तो इंजीनियरिंग के हाथ में खेलना होगा। ये बहुत ज़रूरी। It is engineer who has to be played by engineering, who has to be used by engineering, who has to be used by quality. It's engineer who is being played by various other people who are politicians, who are commercial people, who are businessmen. For their interest, engineers are working. I think that is true. But that should not happen. Engineers should not be slave to all those because of money, you think? If you think I am employed there in government, I have to listen to my boss, I am employed in this sector, I have to listen to my boss. Listening to boss is your responsibility, or engineering is responsibility, you have to see that. When we go to other countries like Gulf countries, for example, we go to Qatar, we go to you can say Abu Dhabi or Dubai. Why do we find difference in quality? Because people are serious there, nation is serious there, public is serious there, government is serious there. I worked in Iraq, I know what was quality system there in 1981, 82, 83. I still remember that. I don't remember quality system what I did in Delhi development authority where I employed for 6 years. जहाँ मैं 6 साल काम किया, मुझे याद है वहाँ की क्वालिटी है जो बाहर मैंने सीखी वो भी क्वालिटी। मैं उस क्वालिटी को याद नहीं करना चाहता। I don't remember that quality which I experienced in during my stay of 6 years from 1975 to 81 Delhi Development Authority. I want to remember that quality which I experienced in Iraq during 81, 82, 83. I want to experience that quality which I underwent in Doha, Qatar in 1985, 86, 87, 88. I still remember that. I still remember quality that I underwent in Abu Dhabi on a oil project. I still remember quality which I saw in Doha, Qatar in 95 and 1995, 96 you can say. Why I still remember? Because I learned from them. And why I don't remember, which I underwent in this country, because I did not learn anything from there except, nothing, you can say nothing rather than saying corruption or something. So it is better if we learn something. And all young engineers are responsible to learn. When you come out of university, you are an engineer, you say, I'm an engineer, fine, but what quality do you have? Engineer has to understand you are an engineer after qualifying examination, and you must understand what is the meaning of quality. You must realize quality facts, and do not have pride. I'm a structural engineer and I'm this engineer, I'm that engineer. I don't need that. I need quality input of your personal knowledge, how much you can apply, because you are going to change whole world, because you are going to work throughout world. It's not here that you have to work only in this country, Bharat, India. You have to work all over world. You have to work all over world because you are civil engineer, and civil engineer education is same all over world. All other engineering educations are same. There's no difference. Like medical education, engineering education, uniform all over world. It's therefore you are responsible for development of world. So okay, don't talk of world, but at least talk of your country, Bharat, India. In this country, we have to develop. I am finding no quality system here, and even if system exists in papers, there's no quality. Application is more important than quality. When I say quality, this means product quality. There is system quality, but product is ultimate game of system, ultimate target of system. If you don't have product quality, we cannot say system is working. System has to work means product should be quality oriented. Just thought was different. Okay, we are having system, this quality system. हमारे पास quality system है, इसको चला रहे हैं, इसका मतलब ऑटोमेटिकली क्वालिटी आ जाएगी, ऐसा सोच आ जाता था, लेकिन वो सच नहीं निकल रहा. वो सच नहीं निकल रहा. That's very, it's a big problem. We say, okay, IS 9001 is there, some other system is there, and it's operating, it's fine, we have got audit, and it's very good, we have observed nothing wrong with that, and they say, okay, fine, it must give quality. Is it giving quality? Question is that. My question is, are we getting quality product? No, we are not getting quality. That's true. Not only civil, but you go to find something, even in services, you are not getting quality. You after sales services, or you can say AMC services, are not to that extent. It should have, means time value is not there, cost value is not there, nothing is there except interest of business. It may be private sector, it may be government sector. Even private sector has become worse than government sector, and government sector doesn't do any service. So where do we stand? How can elite quality means you can expect, if suppose 0.5% companies are working good and 98.5% are working worse. It doesn't matter which company you work in, which company you are. I don't care for name of company or brand of company. I care about product. If product we don't get, it's no use. Means if you spend money and you don't enjoy value of that money, what's purpose of that? Is indirectly you call it robbery, indirectly you call it stealing your money, abusing your money, abusing your power, because companies do like that. Culture of work has gone, culture of quality has gone, culture of standards have gone, culture of safety has gone, everything has gone. I don't know reason behind that. Impatience and patience cannot be equated. Days and night cannot be equated. Sun and no sun cannot be equated. Same thing is quality. If quality is wrong, it's not acceptable, it's not acceptable. And we have to define quality. Nobody else can define quality. It is engineers who have to define quality. It's not politicians, it's not owner of companies, it's not someone else. They can decide policies, they can allot budget. But as far as quality is concerned, safety is concerned, it is engineering community, it is supervision community, it is executing community in engineering world that have to decide. हमें ये सब सोच के आगे बढ़ना होगा, नहीं तो बहुत गलत हो जाएगा. हमारी ना अपने देश में वैल्यू होगी, ना बाहर के देश में वैल्यू होगी. हमें कोई समझेगा अभी भी कहाँ वैल्यू है. लोग कहते हैं अरे आप इंडिया से हैं, अरे आपने तो कभी किया नहीं होगा. हालांकि वो काम हम ही करते हैं, हमसे काम भी लेते हैं, हम करते भी. आप हम जाके जब देखते हैं वहाँ, देखा हमने 20 साल से ज़्यादा वहाँ हम काम करते हैं, सिस्टम फॉलो करते हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि डंडा पड़ता है. नहीं करोगे तो नौकरी से निकाल दिया जाएगा, नहीं करोगे तो आपका भगा दिया जाएगा वहाँ से. ये बातें बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट हैं. और कम्युनिकेशन कोऑर्डिनेशन मैं स्ट्रेस दूंगा बार बार. कम्युनिकेशन कोऑर्डिनेशन, communication is a systematic tool and coordination is a technical systematic requirement. Both are very important. There is no specification for communication, and there is no specification coordination, except that both should happen in a positive way. Both should serve respective purposes they are meant for. What is purpose of communication? It is that information must pass successfully from one point to other point. It must pass wherever it is required from another point to another point. 100% transmission, not part percent. What happens actually when I say something to someone without writing? Information goes there from me to someone. It depends upon me how much, what capacity I have, what efficiency I have to transmit that information correctly, rightly, perfectly, and reliably to other person. And other person has its own efficiency actually to realize how many percentage of that information which I provide to that person further transmits that or uses that. Sometimes it is 100%, sometimes it is 50%, and as suppose that information goes to further one other person, maybe 20% lapse is there. So if you see, ultimately my information doesn't reach correctly. But there is no other way. I have to instruct. Everything cannot be given in writing. And if I give in writing also, okay, I make something, okay, I give you, I send you mail, I send you something else, I send you some letter, I send you some instruction, I send you something writing. And if that person doesn't read that properly, doesn't grasp it, doesn't take care of that, because nobody wants to read, so somebody doesn't want to read, in that case that information is also not worth. It's worth, but it's not worth because it's not respected. So I can say communication depends on involvement of person. Similarly, coordination you can say is like a must, though there is no real definition of coordination, but it depends on individual. If I coordinate, if somebody else coordinate on same subject, on same topic, we have different methods. But our ultimate target shall be realization of what for we work. How do you do? How do I do? How does somebody else do? No, yeah, it depends. But that's personal approach, individual approach, and that cannot be, challenged as far as work is done successfully. In engineering, there is no subject which forces you to learn communication and coordination. It's not language I'm talking, be careful. Language is different issue, but I'm talking is subject. There is no subject in engineering that explains to you about coordination, about communication, about quality system or quality work. These cannot be taught by any highly professional teacher, professor. These cannot be taught by any engineer to you. These cannot be taught by someone else except by experience. If you stay with experienced people, if you review or you can say learn what they do, if you see their writings, if you see their working system, you can learn from that. Otherwise, you cannot learn anything. Writing skill is very significant in engineering. It's not because you have to write in designs or you have to write somewhere else. There are many requirements in writing, in engineering construction, engineering designs. Skilled writing, you can say writing according to references, according to resources. Your writing should act as reference. In technical world, writing should act as reference as well as a tool. You should not mix up issues. If you see certain codes, you cannot solely say this code is perfect, because there will be references, there will be many assumptions, everything. Assumptions cannot be considered reliable. Therefore, whatever we learn in our experience, that really if you learn, I'm not saying you have to learn, you must learn. Learn from practical aspects, learn from theoretical aspect, and learn from operational aspect. Operational aspect is very important. Operational aspect means you have to operate using what you learn, that knowledge. We just say designs, construction methods, and contracts. Designs, of course, is very high profile subject. Everybody cannot do it, and those who do it, they may have different approaches to do design. But ultimate target is same. There can be same sizes or different sizes, but within variation. There may be same details or different details, but operation and service of that member you design or system you design remains same, safe and safe. Whatever method you use, whatever theory you use, but ultimately purpose is same. Design is required to be transformed or translated to construction. This is a very significant and top profile relation which, though is not respected, but even though you do not respect, it shall be respected. Construction person shall demand design, and design person gives design in its own way, in a perfect way, thinking whatever is done is right. Somebody says it should be second opinion based, okay. Somebody says it will be proof checked. But what I say is different. See, proof checking doesn't change anything. Same way, second opinion may not change anything. Because design has no unique way to be done. Everybody has difference. But why I consider is because a person who has designed has not done anything very primarily or elementary. These days designs are based on software work and manual work is very little. 95% work is based on software, maybe only 5% element that engineer contributes to on personal level. So it is no more artistic, you can say. Design is left with no artistic power, no artisan approach. It is left no mechanical system like software use. So there is no contribution in fact from designer. Only way is to use methods of design and values or data that you feed in. You consider that's also according to codes and you cannot violate that. And we should not violate that also. Codes are respected, procedures are respected, requirement is respected, specifications are created. There is no legal specification, it's based on industrial practice and trend. And a specification means, of course, it is referred to. Somewhere it is given, somewhere it is not given. But a specification is not a binding. A specification, when we say, it is for every activity, for every material, and also for every process if you can. Some specifications are basics, some are further basics, and some are operational. I am referring to operational specification. All data which comes from code, which comes from approvals, which comes from materials, which comes from that data has to go ultimately to its permanent home, and that is site, construction site. वो परमानेंट होम है जहाँ हर डाटा जाना है, हर डिज़ाइन जाना है, हर मटेरियल जो आपने माना वो जाना है, हर प्रोसीजर जो हम डिज़ाइन करेंगे वहाँ वो जाना है. जब तक वो वहाँ नहीं जाएगा आपका काम पूरा नहीं होता डिज़ाइनर की हैसियत से या एक कंस्ट्रक्टर की हैसियत से. यू कैन नॉट say that I have completed my job as a designer or as a construction worker or engineer. That has to go there. जब तक वो वहाँ नहीं जाएगा हमें पता नहीं लगेगा हमने सो किया है, सही किया है या गलत किया है. और उसके बीच में जो भी स्टेजेस हैं, जितने भी लोग इन्वॉल्व होते हैं, सबके अपने अपने ओपिनियन, अपने अपने तरीके, और अल्टीमेटली जिस व्यक्ति ने, जिस इंजीनियर ने काम करना है, जिस फोरमैन ने, जिस सुपरवाइज़र ने वो काम करना है, स्टील फिक्स करनी है, सरिया लगाना है, शटरिंग लगानी है या कुछ और काम करना है, जो भी करना है साइट पे, उसे आसानी से और विद क्वालिटी हो जाए, ये ज़रूरी है करने के लिए. और वो कोशिश पूरा करेगा, लेकिन अगर उसको दिक्कत आएगी ड्राइंग से, किसी और चीज़ से, तो वो क्वेश्चन तो करेगा. क्योंकि बहुत सी बातें ऐसी होती हैं जो कंस्ट्रक्शन के लोग समझते हैं, डिज़ाइन के लोग नहीं समझते हैं. इसलिए मेरा हमेशा स्ट्रेस रहता है कि आपको कंस्ट्रक्शन का एक्सपीरियंस भी थोड़ा होना चाहिए डिज़ाइन करने से पहले. होता क्या है, लोग आए, बी करके आ गए, पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन करने लगे, एमई कर गए, पीएचडी कर गए. बड़ी अच्छी बात है आपने पीएचडी की या आपने एमई की, पर आप इंजीनियर बन गए क्या? सवाल तो ये उठता है. देखिए, इंजीनियर की डिग्री होना और इंजीनियर बनना बहुत फ़र्क है. बड़ी बड़ी डिग्रियों से कोई इंजीनियर नहीं हो जाता. असली डिग्री तो काम की होती है. जब तक आप प्रैक्टिकल काम नहीं करेंगे, और वो भी कंस्ट्रक्शन का, जब तक आप प्रैक्टिकल काम कंस्ट्रक्शन का नहीं करेंगे, आप इंजीनियर नहीं कह सकते अपने आप को. लॉ क्या कहता है उसको भूल जाइए. आपके अंदर विश्वास कितना है वो ज़रूरी है, वो कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल होना चाहिए. You cannot call yourself engineer only by having whatever degree you certificate. Your degree is your confidence level, and that you can earn only during field work. If you don't have field experience, it may be small or big, at least something you have seen. Something you have seen, and that is important. Exposure to actual work, exposure to physical work is very significant in engineering world. If I say I know every theory, I know every formula, I can use every software, I can design every model, that is only hypothetical, that is skeptical. Yes, you are expert in designs, you can design, you have software, World is not same as it was before. When we have to think everything, we had to think everything. That was more collaborative, that was more knowledgeable because we use mind, calculations, and everything. Now that opportunity has gone because of software, and we cannot use our mind to that level as it was used before in past. Now you know software shall give some result. What you have to do is to feed something. But you don't have confidence in whatever design you got. Is that real one or there is some error? So you go to another person, okay, blindly check it or proof check it. I want to make sure whatever is done is right. And somebody even doesn't think of that. Okay, fine, what I have done is okay. I'm not saying you have not done well, it's well. But do you know what should be considered in addition to theoretical design, in addition to software based designs? Software is something different. Experience is over that. I can understand problems on site because I have worked on site, and that problem must be understood and solved and be used in or included in the next work, and that we call lessons learned. If we have lessons based on learning, that is perfect lesson. It's much more heavier than what my professor told me or taught me. Every work is done using certain method, and method means every activity. Method in designs or method to design, method to construct, method to do whatever you want to do, a kind of explanation given in sequence or in order. That method weighs far more than what we speak. Speaking is an answer, but speaking is not only an answer. We must realize that speaking or writing should match what we have to do. What do we speak or what do we instruct or what do we write? If that is not worth implementing, how we can start? It's done. हमको जो कहना है, इंस्ट्रक्शन देनी है या लिख के देना है, वो उसी तरह से होना चाहिए जिस तरह से काम होता है. एक आगे हो गया, एक पीछे हो गया, कोई कोऑर्डिनेशन नहीं है राइटिंग में, कोई सीक्वेंस नहीं मिलता, तो उस लिखाई का क्या फ़ायदा? कोई फ़ायदा नहीं है, कोई पढ़ेगा नहीं, उसको समझ ही नहीं आएगा, फेंक देगा, छोड़ो हम अपने आप कर लेते हैं. वो सिचुएशन को नहीं क्रिएट करना है. आपकी लिखाई ऐसी होनी चाहिए जो सीक्वेंस में हो, समझ से हो और सब लोग उसको समझें. वो बहुत ज़रूरी है, ये बात भी समझनी चाहिए. हम उसको मेथड बोलते हैं, मेथड स्टेटमेंट. किसी भी चीज़ का मेथड बहुत ज़रूरी है. एक मिनट दीजिए, अभी आता हूँ. So we have to respect method. We have to respect our method, what method we use in work. That is very important, and quality is related to that. And if we can understand this point, we can solve many problems. I have seen engineers who do not understand this. If you talk to, I know this, I shall do myself. If you talk to some foreman, don't worry, I know I shall do. I've done many times. If you talk to the supervisor, if you talk to someone, they would just pass responsibility to unknown. They do not understand requirement. They do not understand contract. This I have experience. I know how to do it. Don't worry about this. I'm responsible. I don't know who's responsible and what responsibility. And that is only a reason that I say first we should understand contract. Understanding contract is very significant part of engineering because contract itself is quality based. Quality stays everywhere, it works everywhere, and contract speaks a lot. Contracts means binding on everybody, binding on both parties, and binding on everyone working for each party. Binding on engineer, binding on supervisor, binding on owner, binding on company, binding on work method, binding on design. Everything is bound by contract. Again, I say it's not 1 day contract, it's not 3 hours contract, it's not 1 year contract. It depends on duration of contract. It depends on what type of project is, what type of product it is, what type of project it is. You can say what is level of accuracy, what is level of control. All this point we have to understand. इंजीनियरिंग करना और इंजीनियरिंग के बारे में सोचना दोनों चीज़ें अलग अलग हैं. हम क्या सोचते हैं, क्या होता है, हम कुछ नहीं कह सकते क्योंकि सब कुछ यूनिफॉर्म नहीं होता है. हम जब भी कंक्रीट डालते हैं हर कंक्रीट के बैच की अलग प्रॉपर्टी आएगी. आप टेस्ट कर लेना. मान लीजिए आपने 100 क्यूबिक मीटर कंक्रीट डाली. Let us assume we pour 100 cubic meter of concrete. Though it's not done, we say okay, for 25 cubic meter you take one sample, collect one sample, or you can say for minimum if you pour very small quantity of concrete just take one sample. It is just like said now. If we say by chance, let us consider if we take sample of each mix for just trial purpose, for research purpose, all 100 cubic meter concrete, if say we take cubes, to take samples every mix, you will find all varying results. Temperature may be same, water contents may be same, but result shall be different. Why? Because it is natural ingredient we use. We use aggregate, that is coarse aggregate, we use fine aggregate, and we use cement of different types. And of course, if you check curves for these, fineness modulus for these, combined grading for these, individual grading of aggregate, you will find all varying, and that's why results vary. But all this must be within some fixed range or acceptable range. That's where point lies in. So when we say quality, how can you define quality then if everything varies? Yes, we can define quality in variance. Limits are defined. From this value to this value, it is acceptable, we say, and that's right, there's nothing wrong with that. And that's where range is. So everything has some range. Quality is varying, of course, controls are varying. Quality varies, control varies, requirement varies, everything varies, but it is engineering. This means engineering varies. Just like foundations vary for a same building designs, you have some plan. You want to construct 50 buildings or 10 buildings of that plan. This means 10 or 15 locations are required for those buildings. How many buildings are there? How many plans are there? And plans may be same, but foundations may be different because soil may be different. Sometimes soils are same, but that is very rare. It doesn't happen very often. Soils can be different. Properties of soil we have to investigate by soil exploration, and we get to know what is that soil. If we find similarity, say within few percentage variation, we say okay, we use same type of foundation. If it varies, then we have to design foundation for each building. That's where difference lies in. Superstructure may be same, but substructure is different. Same way, engineering may be same, but its attitude may be different, or working attitude may be different, engineer may be different, thinking may be different, area may be different, such seismic zoning may be different, nature may be different, weather may be different. Therefore, engineering is different, and that we have to analyze, and that analysis is also different. इंजीनियरिंग को समझने का मतलब है जो भी प्रॉब्लम्स हम देखते हैं पहले उनको समझना. प्रॉब्लम्स का मतलब डिज़ाइन प्रॉब्लम्स, वर्किंग प्रॉब्लम्स. जब तक हम साइट को नहीं जानते किसी भी और हम कहते हैं हम डिज़ाइन कर रहे हैं, मेरे को एक क्वेश्चन हमेशा उठता है, क्या हम पेपर डिज़ाइनर हैं या हम वास्तविक डिज़ाइनर हैं? Whenever I think of design and somebody asks me, people come to me, okay, this is my plot here, this is size, give me design. It is no problem, it's very good, you design. They do not understand foundations, they do not understand problems with soil, and what they say is just give me line and I will design, I will do myself. They are seen such people. And really I am surprised that these people do not know. Means you are going to construct a building and you do not understand value of that building. You have to stay in that building for years to come, or somebody else has to, doesn't matter, somebody has to stay there. Even if you are doing it from commercial viewpoint or from enhancement of value viewpoint and sell it, even then it's your responsibility, but they do not understand. I sell it or go, or I have to rent it and somebody else has to stay in that. That thing is septic one, septic thinking. But engineer cannot think that way. Engineer has to see that this building should work safe, and that's why analysis is done from every viewpoint. It's not only from structural viewpoint but also from all other viewpoint. When I talk of quality, it doesn't mean quality of material only. It means quality of every input I give, I provide. That input is, you can say, very significant, and such input inclusion is cumulated by every other input. Design quality is of paramount importance. If you don't understand that, we say we have analyzed everything, analysis is done. Okay, that's fine. You have not done analysis yourself. Somebody else has done it. Computer has done it. Your analysis of micro-analysis level means you are going to give input. This is coordination, this is that coordinate. This is value of died load, live load, action, this action, that action, and you conduct trial and you say I have done it. In fact, that is not your input, that is computer input. Already everything has been done in that system, you are just using that. But you are not keeping in mind, you don't keep in mind. You only say I am economizing this, I am reducing its size, or I am saving this, I am saving that. In fact, you are saving only on papers. You save only on papers, you don't save in physical world. You don't keep in mind that your work shall be done by those who do not know ABCD of work. Your work shall be done by those who do not understand your design, who do not understand what is your mind. Because you have kept yourself to only paperwork in designs. How many buildings have you seen or have you experienced? You have not experienced anything, and you are going to design, and you are feeling happy. Oh, I'm a designer. I like it that you are a designer. But designer of what? Designer of imagination, having one imagination, creating another imagination, or can you command? Can you stand? Can you warrant that your design is a practical one, a successful one? I have seen some designers of narrow thinking. For them, economy is reduction in size of members. They think this is what saving is. No, that's not saving. That is, I can say, ignorance of knowledge, ignorance of real world. See, we see engineering, and engineering means something should be done with expert application. It's not expert knowledge, I say. Tolerances are given because they know it is practical work, is physical work. Tolerances in construction are always much more than tolerance in mechanical world. In mechanical world, if you go to design, machine designs will find millimeters or tolerances defined, but in engineering it's not like that. In construction it's not like that. It's different because of, they know this is different type of world. But material is immense that is consumed, and we consider factor of safety also. All these are safety covers, and we do not know nature of soil. Even though we investigate, we explore, we cannot say with guarantee this is how it shall perform. ये कैसा काम करेगी मिट्टी, ये मटेरियल कैसा काम करेगा. हमने उसमें एक शब्द डाल दिया सेफ्टी फैक्टर. उस सेफ्टी फैक्टर के सहारे हम डिज़ाइन करते हैं. तो हम अपना क्या करते हैं, इसका मतलब हम भी श्योर नहीं हैं कि ये मटेरियल कैसा कंडक्ट करेगा, बिहेव करेगा, ये एलिमेंट कैसा बिहेव करेगा. सब जगह वेरिएशन है, फैक्टर है, सेफ्टी है, कहीं भी परफेक्शन तो नहीं है. वो स्टील का मटेरियल हो या वो हदीद हो, लोहा हो, कंक्रीट हो, पानी हो, मिक्स हो, डिज़ाइन हो, कुछ भी क्यों ना हो, हम एक विश्वास से कहते हैं भाई ये ठीक है, ऐसा होगा, काम करेगा, लेकिन पक्के रूप से तो वो भी नहीं है. हमने मान लेते हैं, इतना हम ले लेते हैं इसकी बेयरिंग कैपेसिटी, इतनी हम इसकी शेयर कैपेसिटी मान लेते हैं और इसको करते हैं इस डिज़ाइन. इसका मतलब यह है कि हमने उसका पूरा भी उपयोग नहीं किया. खैर कोई बात नहीं है, अब ये साइंस है, इंजीनियरिंग है, जो है उसको मानना पड़ेगा, जो नहीं है उसको नहीं मानना पड़ेगा. लेकिन ट्रायल ज़रूरी है. हम ट्रायल करते थे, याद है हमें उस समय, मुझे आज भी याद है उन 1985 का वो समय, 1985, उसके बाद 1987. उस समय इतना डाटा नहीं था. We did not have all data available, and we were asked to do trial mix of concrete design, and we did that. I did not know how it was done, but we did it with support of laboratory, with support of batching plant, or you can say concrete mixing. We had to learn a lot. I had to learn a lot in that case. Of course, everything was elementary because of the computer feedback. Now it's different. Designs are available, can be conducted, can be forecast. So there is a change, of course. I don't say no change, but then, even then, research continues, experience continues, problems continue, and we have to continue. Quality is not fixed, analysis is not fixed, and same way you can say nothing is fixed in engineering. Reliability is a factor you have to achieve, which says that every work should be safe, should serve, and should continuously serve during its entire life duration. That is what reliability factor says, and that we have to agree with. And that's the only reason that I say, as much as we think and we concentrate, it becomes like a power, it acts as power. Thinking capacity, concentration capacity, these can say certain powers are these to achieve everything, and value is unlimited. And that's what we have to say. We have to refer ourselves to a kind of insurance of our work. Insurance, which is a part of contracts, it's a part of perfection. Perfection, assumption, not actual perfection. When we refer to insurance on contract, because we are talking contract, and contract means quality system. It is structured in such a way that from start to beginning, from commencement to completion, you have a standard way what we are going to do. Everything is defined in precise manner as well as in elaborate manner. That definition amounts a lot. We cannot escape that definition in our system, in our life. Engineering is that use of knowledge, use of mind which is genius and which is now trained well because of your education. And education has trained it, but you have to use it. You have to further train it. It's only limited training that professor can give. Every professor can give limited training, but you have to become your own professor later on. In field, during work, we are own professors. Engineering leads from study to self-study. We have to understand this fact. Engineering is particularly a world where you have to learn at one point and then you have to continue learning yourself by way of experience, by way of further study, or by way of practical study. For me, for my consideration, study given by professor and study given by your experience. Experience is more important than professional studies, because professional studies are achieved, are conducted by some other authors written books, not professional engineers written book. I have not seen very many books written by professional engineers or practicing engineers. In construction, in designs, books are available which are written by professors only. This means real engineering is not reflected in books. Real engineering is not reflected in books. It's only referred books, it's only references that are. Real work is not reflected anywhere, and that's not published. I have done this, but I could not be successful because publishers did not cooperate. I was very much interested to reflect my experience, to give my experience to others, but that cannot be given on road. It cannot be given. In those days there was no internet, there was no computer system, so there could be no successful communication to people. Now because of availability of internet, we have this opportunity, and that's the reason I'm talking to you. Maybe it is one way talk, doesn't matter, but information should reach, and you can review it anytime. It doesn't matter, you listen to me now, you can see it anytime, whatever time in future, because it's available somewhere on the globe. That's only difference, that era has changed, time has changed, and that's where I'm making use of. I'm making use of this technology for that reason, and not only myself, thousands others are doing that. But if you compare this time to 1985, 1986, for you it is something unknown. Maybe it is, you can say, something miraculous, that changes I have seen from log table to calculator to DOS to Excel, Lotus 123, and now to online live telecast. Means indirectly I can reach to my friends to share my experience, and they may benefit or they may not benefit. It is on individual's choice. Some people do not like it, some people like it. I cannot interfere in that. I have no power to encroach. But what I should again say, once you are engineer, I mean by qualification, you must have certain responsibility and you are responsible. This responsibility cannot be eroded, cannot be diluted. If you are more responsible, you are a great person. Responsibility doesn't worry you, but your attitude worries you. Responsibility is always good if you are punctual, if you are regular, if you are, attentive, if you respond to yourself. If you feel responsibility, if you respond to yourself, then you respond to everybody. When I say self-teaching, this means self-responsibility. It doesn't matter you study some book, your work itself is book. When you work in field, you learn from everybody. Whatever experience you have, you refine that experience, you reconfirm that experience, ratify that experience. You ratify in field, even from a guard, even from a helper, from a machine operator, from a mason, a carpenter, a tiler, a steel fixer, from electrician, from welders. You experience something. Then you see where they are working. Is it right? Then you are forced to think because you have a capacity to think. And if you can't think, then you means you do not care for your education. You did not learn anything. I see sometimes, just giving you reference, I've seen that welding, for example, is done. It's very critical work. Radiation transmission is a possibility. And it is done. People weld only on open road. You haven't seen streets, you'll find people just in exposure to everybody, they weld. There's particular work, particular defense system, particular safety system, but nobody cares. Means that reflection generated by or projected by welding should not impact eyes of people, but nobody cares. There is no shield around, so that reflection should not be out. There is no protection of that, and everybody goes on welding. I'm just giving an example. Same way, it's for every activity, critical activity where people don't care. यू शुड केयर, आपको केयर करनी चाहिए. इंजीनियर की हैसियत से आप अभियंता हैं तो अभियंता की तरह रहें. अभियंता की तरह रहने का मतलब कार और कपड़ों से नहीं है, उसका मतलब आपको अपने कार्य करने से है. अभियंता के एक उत्तरदायी होता है, इसके लिए उसे अभियंता इंजीनियर कहते हैं. उसके पास एक माइंड होता है जिसको ट्रेन किया गया, शिक्षित किया गया. उस माइंड को काम आना चाहिए. और अगर वो काम नहीं जानता है तो आपने शिक्षा सही ग्रहण नहीं किया, जिम्मेदारी आप नहीं जानते. लाइफ में रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बहुत ज़रूरी है. रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, अकाउंटेबिलिटी, लायबिलिटी समझ आनी चाहिए. जब तक आप ये चीज़ नहीं समझते तो आप इंजीनियर बन ही नहीं सकते, सुपरवाइजन कर ही नहीं सकते. If you do not know responsibility, you do not understand what's accountability, what's liability, then you're not a perfect person to supervise a contract. Because contract itself is a different world. It's a legislation between two persons done by them for themselves and for project. So it's a kind of forced binding, you can say. It's not optional binding, but forced binding. You can say it's my option, I do or don't do. You cannot say that on contract practice. You cannot be. You can say that in legal world. You can say something else in personal life or in general life. But as far as work is concerned, contract is concerned, and that too is construction contract. You cannot say that because you have to do it. And if you are not able to do it, somebody else will do it. Remember. And that's what we call suspension or termination or whatever we discussed before. If you don't want to do something as you're asked to do, instructed to do, or you're bound to do according to contract and you're not doing that, you want to be paid for that and you will be out of that contract or somebody else will do it, your risk and cost. This point you have to understand. जब हम ये समझ जाते हैं हम कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर रहे हैं तो हमारी दुनिया बदल जाती है, विश्व बदल जाता है हमारा. क्योंकि ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट और कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का मतलब बाइंडिंग होता है. कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का मतलब मज़ा नहीं होता है कि हम मज़ा लेना है इससे. कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का मतलब ये नहीं होता है मेरी मर्जी मैं करूँ ना करूँ, बात ये नहीं होती है. कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है तो वो दो आदमियों का एग्रीमेंट है, दो पार्टीज़ का एग्रीमेंट है, वो बाइंडिंग है. वो कोई देश का संविधान नहीं, हम मानते नहीं मानते, वो कोई ऐसा कानून इजाज़ हो तो करना कर लो, हम नहीं मानते. वहाँ ऐसी बात नहीं चलेगी. वहाँ आप नहीं करेंगे तो आपको से करवाया जाएगा. रिमेंबर, आप कॉन्ट्रैक्टर हैं या आप ऑनर हैं, इससे फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता. आप एक पार्टी हैं. मैं कॉन्ट्रैक्टर का काम करूं या मैं ऑनर का काम करूं, मेरी कैपेसिटी है. अगर मैं ऑनर हूं तो भी मैं कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पर हूँ, और मैं कॉन्ट्रैक्टर हूँ तो भी मैं कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पर हूँ। आप थोड़ा समझने की कोशिश कीजिए। वो एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट है, करार है, एक फैसला है दो पार्टियों का, दो दलों का, दो व्यक्तियों का, और दोनों व्यक्तियों के अपने अपने अधिकार होते हैं, अपनी अपनी जिम्मेदारी होती है, उत्तरदायित्व होता है, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है, अकाउंटेबिलिटी होती है, लाइबिलिटी होती है, समाज की तरफ, देश की तरफ, अपने व्यवसाय की तरफ, दुनिया की तरफ, विश्व की तरफ और ऊपर वाले की तरफ। क्योंकि उस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में जो भी हम काम करेंगे वो मटेरियल तो हम ऊपर वाले से ही लेंगे, ज़मीन से ही लेंगे। वो अपने आप तो नहीं आ जाएगा, कहीं ना कहीं उपलब्ध है, उसको हम यूज़ करेंगे। अगर हम इस बात को समझें तो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक फॉर्मेलिटी तो है, लेकिन एक बंधन है। ऐसा बंधन, उस बंधन से हम ऐसे बंधन बनाने जा रहे हैं जो कई दशकों तक काम करेंगे, जो कई, आप कह सकते हैं, सेंचुरीज तक भी काम कर सकते हैं। वो बंधन, वो रिश्ते हम बनाते हैं उस प्रोजेक्ट से, थ्रू उन सब के, मटेरियल के थ्रू, मशीन के थ्रू, प्रोसीजर के थ्रू, व्यक्तियों के थ्रू। वो सब हमारे मीन्स हैं, सब हमारे रिसोर्सेस हैं, उनको हमने यूज़ करना है और उससे ही हमने एक ऐसी चीज़ बनानी है, ऐसा ढांचा बनाना है जो काफ़ी लंबे समय तक चलेगा, सेवा देगा। हम रहें ना रहें, ठेकेदार रहे ना रहे, लेकिन वो चीज़ तो रहेगी। कौन उसमें रहेगा, कैसे रहेगा, आज नहीं जानते। जो भी रहेगा कहेगा ये अच्छा है या बुरा है, सही है या गलत है, आज नहीं कह सकते, लेकिन हाँ हम जानते हैं। इसलिए ये कविता नहीं है, ये कहानी भी नहीं है, ये वास्तविकता है। इस चीज़ को समझने की कोशिश कीजिए हर व्यक्ति। इसलिए मैं थोड़ा हिंदी में भी बोल रहा हूँ, ताकि आपको स्ट्रक्चर का मतलब, बिल्डिंग का मतलब, किसी और भी कार्य किए हुए का मतलब समझ आए कि हम क्या नुकसान या फ़ायदा कर रहे हैं समाज का, देश का, विश्व का। कितनी हम क्वालिटी नहीं लेते तो क्या फ़ायदा हो रहा है या क्या नुकसान हो रहा है, और हम क्वालिटी लेते हैं तो उससे कितना फ़र्क पड़ता है। ये बातें हर नए बंदे को, नए इंजीनियर को समझ आनी चाहिए। हवाबाजी से तो दुनिया नहीं चलेगी, दुनिया तो काम करने से ही चलेगी। Always jumping in air and climbing in air, saying I am just air, I am in flight, I cannot come out of flight, means you are not interested in ground reality, then you cannot work in engineering. We are not talk, we don't talk, engineers talk very little, just to understand that. बात करने से इंजीनियरिंग नहीं होती है, बात करने से, हवाबाजी करने से इंजीनियरिंग नहीं होती है। इंजीनियरिंग होती है इंजीनियरिंग का काम करने से, सीरियसनेस से। और अगर हम सीरियस नहीं हैं तो हम कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नहीं चला सकते, हम सीरियस नहीं है तो हम काम नहीं चेक कर सकते, हम सीरियस नहीं है तो हम कर नहीं सकते। और सीरियसनेस का मतलब ये भी नहीं है कि मेरे चेहरे पे झुर्रियाँ पड़ जाएं, मेरे चेहरे लटक जाएं, अरे भाई बहुत मैं सो नहीं सकता, मुझे नींद नहीं आती क्योंकि मेरा काम नहीं, इसलिए नींद नहीं आती, आपको काम नहीं चल रहा, तो काम क्यों नहीं चल रहा। बातें वही हैं, समझ का फ़र्क है। वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड आवर व्यूज़ दैट वी आर डिफरेंट पीपल इन इंजीनियरिंग। वी आर पीपल who change everything. We are people who do not follow changes always. They change. We change and keep on changing. And that's why engineers are also called change agents, agents of change. We are not in politics. We don't want politicians, because engineering is much above than everybody. Even if I am not recognized as an engineer, but they use me. Even if I don't have any designation legally, they use me. Even if they don't like me because of my dirty clothes or dirty face, maybe, or my dirty voice, maybe, because I'm a rough person. You may laugh, but it's a fact. I've not seen any civil engineer till now, except those in designs. I've not seen any civil engineer in world of engineering field that I can say they are polite or they are diplomat. Yes, I cannot say all time they are aggressive, but During work, during field work particularly, during final work you can say, if not field work, during final formation of engineering proposition, we find people are very aggressive. Sometimes abuse of language is also done, and that is part of job. Civil engineers work in adverse weather conditions, or you can say all weather conditions, and it's not pleasing all time. But work is not done correctly, it is delayed, so becomes aggressive. Every minute is important, every hour is important, and if there is delay, this means work is held. And that delay which we see is moving out and can't stop it. And if we are intelligent, we can stop it. It depends on our experience, and that experience is where value is given. What is my experience? What is your experience? Experience doesn't mean stay on some role, but what you learned. What did I learn? That's experience. It's more valuable than formal degrees that we earn through universities, because those degrees are limited. There is no major opportunity given to everybody to learn. Okay, this is a book you read or you assume something, and we can say likewise, education continues, but we say professional development education, or we say CPD, is we call continuous professional development. And when we say professional development, means knowledge addition. Our knowledge is added. Whatever knowledge you have today, maybe you did not have that knowledge 5 years back, if you are experienced one. And if you are a fresh one, you are a new budding engineer, then whatever knowledge you had in your university, that has gone somewhere, and you are getting real knowledge which is based on work. So there is difference of definition of engineers. Engineer at zero level means once you come out of university after having passed BE or Bachelor of Engineering, you are ground zero engineer, because you have no engineering experience. Then once you learn it, if you are in designs or you are in construction, wherever you are, you start learning, and for another 5 years or 10 years you will find that you have learned a lot. You have compare yourself to a time when you are in university, final year. Your stamina at that time, your potential at that time, your knowledge at that time has changed, merged multiple times when you have passed 10 years in that profession. And it happens particularly in engineering, and specifically in civil engineering, because civil engineering is site, factory, site is factory there, site is industry there. Whatever location we have, that is our target for complex activities which are going to be conducted for years to come. So you can say everything lies there. We should not ignore that, and that's why I say contract is very responsible word. And if we don't worry about contract, then we cannot do anything. Contract is not something we have to fight together, we have to fight with someone. Contract is not that. When I say contract, it doesn't mean to fight with someone, not at all. We have gone through many clauses in this silver book, and now we are talking of insurance, because insurance is very important. And this is general requirement in clause 19, that without limiting either party's obligations or responsibilities under contract, contractor shall effect and maintain all insurances for which contractor is responsible with insurers and in terms, both of which shall be subject to consent by employer. These terms shall be consistent with terms agreed by both parties before date that both parties signed contract agreement. So it's very simple to say that without limiting either party's obligations or responsibilities under contract, contract shall effect and maintain insurances for which contract is responsible according to conditions on contract or according to law conditions, and some insurers and terms, both of which shall be subject to consent by employer. Employer has to give clearance, okay, I agree with these terms, because ultimately it's employer responsibility for safety and for everything. These terms shall be consistent with terms if whatever agreed by both parties before date that both parties signed contract agreement. Insurance required to be provided under this clause are minimum requirements, minimum required by employer, and contractor may at contractor's own cost add such other assurances that contractor may deem prudent. Whenever required by employer, contractor shall produce insurance policies which contractor is required to effect under contract. As each premium is paid, contractor shall promptly submit either a copy of each receipt of payment to employer or confirmation from insurers that premium has been paid. इंश्योरेंस बहुत आवश्यक है, जिसकी आवश्यकता कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में दी गई है या कानून नियम में दी गई है, और वो एम्प्लॉयर का हक है पूछना कि आप ये काम करने जा रहे हैं मेरा, इसके ऊपर जो भी इंश्योरेंस लागू होती है उसकी डॉक्यूमेंट्स दिखाइए, जो भी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट की रिक्वायरमेंट है वो आपको पूरी करनी होगी, या जो मेरी रिक्वायरमेंट मैं पूरी करूँगा। आपने ये सब कंप्लाई क्लॉक्स जो इंश्योरेंस के नियम है हमारे, हमने एग्री किए हैं कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में, हम दोनों ने, आप दिखाइए कि आपने वो किया है या नहीं किया है। ये सब हक होता है एम्प्लॉयर का, और एम्प्लॉयर की यस लेनी पड़ती है, एम्प्लॉयर की कॉन्सेंट लेनी पड़ती है उसके ऊपर। और जब भी आप प्रीमियम दें, कोई भी प्रीमियम किसी भी इंश्योरेंस का, वो हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस हो सकती है, वो वर्क इंश्योरेंस हो सकती है, वो थर्ड पार्टी इंश्योरेंस वर्कर्स की हो सकती है, किसी की भी इंश्योरेंस हो सकती है, वो कागज़ आपको दिखाने हैं हमने पेमेंट किया है और ये वैलिड है, ये बहुत ज़रूरी है। इफ़ कॉन्ट्रैक्टर फेल्स टू अफेक्ट एंड keep force, if contractor fails to affect and keep in force either of insurances required under clause insurance to be provided by contractor, then in whatever such case employer may affect and keep in force such insurances and pay whatever premium as may be necessary and recover that one from contractor from time to time by deducting amounts so spent or paid from whatever monies that is due to contractor, or otherwise recover same as debt from contractor. And that is what we can say employers and contractors claim provision applies. अगर कॉन्ट्रैक्टर, ठेकेदार जो इंश्योरेंस करानी चाहिए कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के हिसाब से, देश के लॉ के हिसाब से वो नहीं कराता है, लापरवाही दिखाता है, तो एम्प्लॉयर भी उसको करा सकता है, और जो भी खर्चा एम्प्लॉयर का आएगा वो कॉन्ट्रैक्टर से रिकवर कर सकता है अगर पेमेंट उसकी देनी है, ड्यू है, और अगर ड्यू नहीं भी है तब भी वो पेमेंट दे सकता है और उसको लोन मान सकता है कि मैंने ये लोन कॉन्ट्रैक्टर को दिया, और उसकी रिकवरी कर सकता है। इफ़ ईदर कॉन्ट्रैक्टर or employer fails to comply with whatever condition of insurances affected under contract, party so failing to comply shall indemnify other party against all direct losses and claims, including legal fees and expenses arising from such failure. Again, if either contractor or employer fails to comply with whatever conditions of insurance is affected under contract, parties so failing to comply with shall indemnify other party against all direct losses and claims, including legal fees and expenses arising from such failure. कॉन्ट्रैक्टर ने ये सब इंश्योरेंस करानी है, उसकी ड्यूटी है, उसको सारी कंडीशंस को कंप्लाई करना है। अगर वो नहीं करता है तो एम्प्लॉयर को पूरा अधिकार है कि वो उसकी पेमेंट करे और अपने आप को सेफ रखे, कॉन्ट्रैक्टर उसको इंडेमनीफाई करे कोई भी एक्शन होने के लिए, कि एम्प्लॉयर की कोई रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी नहीं होगी, लेकिन एम्प्लॉयर की ड्यूटी बनती है, अगर कॉन्ट्रैक्टर नहीं करता है, उसकी प्रीमियम नहीं पे करता है, तो एम्प्लॉयर पे करे और उसकी रिकवरी करे या उसको वसूल करे। कॉन्ट्रैक्टर शैल आल्सो बी रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर फॉलोइंग, कॉन्ट्रैक्टर की जिम्मेदारी होगी, ठेकेदार की जिम्मेदारी होगी इन बातों के लिए: नोटिफाइंग इंश्योरर्स ऑफ वट एवर चेंजेस in nature, extent or program for execution of works. अगर प्रोग्राम चेंज हुआ है, क्योंकि प्रोग्राम भी होता है इंश्योरर के पास कि आपकी कॉपी ये है, प्रोजेक्ट ये है, if there is some change you are going to do, you have to inform insurer. Notifying insurer of whatever changes in nature, extent or program for execution of works, And also adequacy and validity of insurances in accordance with contract at all times during performance of contract consideration. Adequacy and validity of insurances in accordance with contract at all times during performance of contract. Permitted deductible limits allowed in whatever policy shall not exceed amounts stated in contract data. Where there is a shared liability, loss shall be borne by each party in proportion to each party's liability, provided non-recovery from insurers has been caused by a breach of this clause by contractor or employer. In event that non-recovery from insurers has been caused by such a breach, defaulting party shall bear loss. अगर आपने इंश्योरेंस को इंटैक्ट नहीं रखा, ढंग से नोटिस नहीं दिए प्रॉब्लम्स के, चेंजेस के, और यदि उससे आपको इंश्योर कवर का प्रॉब्लम आता है, आपको नुकसान होता है, उससे आपको लायबिलिटी बढ़ जाती है, वो लायबिलिटी आपकी होगी या आप दोनों पार्टीज़ की होगी, जैसा भी एनवायरनमेंट होगा, जैसी भी सिचुएशन होगी. एंड इट इज़ बिकॉज वेयर देयर इज़ अ शेयर्ड लायबिलिटी, जहाँ पर शेयर्ड लायबिलिटी है, लॉस शैल बी बॉर्न बाय ईच पार्टी इन प्रोपोर्शन टू ईच पार्टीज लायबिलिटी. जितने भी लायबिलिटी जिसकी बनती है ऑनर की, उसकी लायबिलिटी उसकी होगी, और जितनी बाकी है वो आपकी होगी, provided non-recovery from insurers has not been caused by breach of this clause by contractor or employer. In event that non-recovery from insurer has been caused by such a breach, defaulting party shall bear loss suffered. जो भी पार्टी जिम्मेदार है उसके लिए उसको रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेनी होगी. अब ये है इंश्योरेंस टू बी प्रोवाइडेड बाय कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स. कॉन्ट्रैक्टर ने कौन सी इंश्योरेंस देनी है? इंश्योरेंस इज टू बी प्रोवाइडेड बाय कॉन्ट्रैक्टर. इसका है 19th क्लॉज में, कॉन्ट्रैक्टर शैल प्रोवाइड फॉलोइंग इंश्योरेंसेस. ये बीमा कॉन्ट्रैक्टर कराएगा, इसके बारे में हम बात कर रहे हैं. वी आर गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट दोज इंश्योरेंस व्हिच कॉन्ट्रैक्टर इज लायबल to get it done. Contractor works के बारे में, works we are talking. Contractor shall insure and keep insured in joint names of contractor and employer from commencement date until date of issue of taking over certificate for works. वर्क के शुरुआत से, जॉब के शुरुआत से, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के शुरुआत से, और जिस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट हैंड ओवर करेंगे उस दिन तक इंश्योरेंस ज़रूरी है और इंश्योर्ड रखना ज़रूरी है. उन दोनों के नाम में जो इस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के जिम्मेदार हैं, जिसमें ऑनर भी आ जाता है और कॉन्ट्रैक्टर भी आ जाता है. एम्प्लॉयर एंड कॉन्ट्रैक्टर बोथ आर नेम्ड इन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. And therefore, when we talk of insurance, both are responsible for that. Works and contractors documents together with materials and plant for incorporation in works. कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के डॉक्यूमेंट जो भी दस्तावेज हैं काम के, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के, उनके साथ मटेरियल्स के, प्लांट्स के जो वर्क में लगने हैं, फॉर देयर फुल रिप्लेसमेंट वैल्यू. वर्क्स एंड कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स डॉक्यूमेंट्स टुगेदर विद मटेरियल्स एंड प्लांट फॉर इनकॉर्पोरेशन इन वर्क्स फॉर देयर फुल रिप्लेसमेंट वैल्यू. Insurer, or you can say insurance cover, shall extend to include loss and damage of whatever part of works. Insurance cover shall extend to include loss and damage of whatever parts of works as consequence of failure of elements defectively designed or constructed with defective materials or workmanship. Very important clause, very significant clause. If you can analyze and understand, this is very, very significant. Works and contractors documents. It talks of works and contracts documents together with materials and plant for incorporation in works. For their full replacement value, full replacement value, not part. For their full replacement value, it is again I read because it's very important clause. Works and contractors document काम जो करना है और कॉन्ट्रैक्टर के कागज दस्तावेज. Works and contractors documents together with materials and plant for incorporation works. For their full replacement value, insurance cover shall extend to include loss and damage of whatever part of works as a consequence of failure of elements defectively designed or constructed with defective material of workmanship. बहुत कुछ कवर कर रहा है ये. This clause is covering a lot. It covers works in entirety. It covers contractors documents and also materials, plants and works, incorporation works जो भी लगा है, and full replacement value. इसको समझिए. Works and contractors documents together with materials and plants for incorporation in works for their full replacement value. Insurance cover shall extend to include loss and damage of whatever parts of works as a consequence of failure of elements actively designed or constructed with defective materials or workmanship, and an additional amount of 15% an additional amount of 15% of such replacement value or such other amount as may be specified in contract data to cover any additional cost incidental to rectification of loss or damage, including professional fees and cost of demolition and removal of debris. Insurance cover shall cover employer and contractor against all loss or damage from whatever cause arising until issue of taking over certificate for works. Thereafter, insurance shall continue until date of issue of performance certificate in respect of whatever incomplete work for loss or damage arising from whatever cause occurring before date of issue of taking over certificate for works, and for whatever loss or damage occasioned by contractor in course of whatever operation carried out by contractor for purpose of complying with contractor's obligations under clause defects and taking over and clause tests after completion. However, insurance cover provided by contractor for works may exclude any of following. So let us first go back and see because this is very important provision and we have to understand it in its thorough explanatory mode. Contractor shall ensure and keep insured in joint names of contractor and employer from commencement date until date of issue of taking over certificate for works. Works and contractors documents together with materials and plans for incorporation and works. For their full replacement value, insurance cover shall extend to include loss and damage of any part of work as a consequence of failure of elements defectively designed or constructed with defective material or workmanship, and an additional amount of 15% of such replacement value, an additional amount of 15% for such replacement value or such other amount as may be specified in contract data to cover any or whatever additional cost incidental to rectification of loss or damage, including professional fees and cost of demolition and removal of debris. Insurance shall cover employer and contractor against all loss or damages from whatever cause arising until issue of taking over certificate for works. Thereafter insurance shall continue until certificate for works is issued. Taking over certificate for work is issued. Thereafter insurance shall continue until date of issue of performance certificate in respect of whatever incomplete work for loss or damage arising from whatever cause occurring before date of issue of taking over certificate for works, and for whatever loss or damage occasioned by contractor in course of whatever operation carried out by contractor for purpose of complying with contractor's obligation under defects after taking over and tests and completion. However, insurance cover provided by contractor for works may exclude these requirements. Cost of making good and part of works which is defective, including defective material and workmanship. Cost of making good part of works, whatever part of works which is defective, including defective material and workmanship, or otherwise does not comply with contract, provided that it does not exclude cost of making good, whatever loss or damage to whatever other part of works attributable to such defect or non-compliance. Indirect or consequential loss or damage, including whatever reductions in contract price or for delays, wear and tear, shortage and pilferages, unless otherwise stated in contract data, risks arising from exceptional events. Goods. goods, contractor shall ensure in joint names of contractor and employer, goods and other items or things brought to site by contractor to extent specified or amount stated in contract data, if not specified or stated, for their full replacement value, including delivery to site. So it is condition of goods, or you may say material and equipment, which are known as goods. Contractor shall ensure in joint names of employer and contractor, goods and other belongings or items, or you can say procurement material brought to site by contractor to extent specified or amount so you can say contractor shall ensure joint names of contractor and employer, goods and other items brought to site by contractor to extent specified or amount stated in contract data, if not specified or stated, for their full replacement value, including delivery to site. Contractor shall maintain this insurance from time to time goods are delivered to site and until they are no longer required for works. Liability for breach of professional duty. Liability for breach of professional duty. To extent if whatever that contractor is responsible for design of part of permanent works under contractor's general obligations, to extent that contractor is responsible for design of part of permanent works under contractor's general obligations and or whatever other design under contract and consistent with indemnities specified in care of works and indemnities. Contractor shall effect and maintain professional indemnity. Contractor shall effect and maintain professional indemnity insurance against liability arising out of whatever act. Error or omission by contractor in carrying out contractor's design obligations in an amount not less than that stated in contract data, and if not stated, amount agreed with employer. Contractor shall effect and maintain professional indemnity insurance against liability arising out of whatever act, error, or omission by contractor in carrying out contractor's design obligations in amount not less than that stated in contract data, and if not stated, amount agreed with employer. If stated in contract data, such professional indemnity insurances shall also indemnify contractors against liability arising out of any act or whatever act, error, or omission by contractor in carrying out contractor's design obligations under contract that results in works or section of part of major items of plant when completed not being fit for purpose for which they are intended under contractor's general obligations. Again I say, if stated in contract data, such professional indemnity insurance shall also indemnify contractors against liability arising out of whatever act, error, or omission by contractor in carrying out contractor's design obligations under contract that results in works when completed not being fit for purpose for which they are intended under this clause for one separate this purpose for which they are not intended. Contract general obligations is if stated in contract status of professional indemnity insurance shall also indemnify contractor against liability arising out of whatever act After that, we can say contractor shall maintain this insurance for period specified in contract data. Injury to persons and damage to property. This is also a very important point. Injury to persons and damage to property. Contractor shall insure in joint names of contractor and employer against liabilities for death or injury to whatever person or loss of or damage to whatever property other than works arising out of performance out of contract and occurring before issue of work permits. Contractor shall insure in joint names of contractor and employer against liability for death or injury to whosoever person or loss of or damage to whatever property other than works arising out of performance of contract and occurring before issue of performance certificate. Got it. Contractor shall insure in joint names of employer and contractor against liabilities for death or injury to any person or loss of damage to whatever property other than works arising out of performance of contract and occurring before issue of performance certificate other than loss or damage caused by an exceptional event. Insurance policy shall include a cross liability. Insurance policy shall include a cross liability clause such that insurance shall apply to contractor and employer as separate insureds. Such insurance shall be effected before contractor begins whatever work on site and remain in force until issue of performance certificate and shall be for not less than an amount stated in contract data, if not stated amount agreed with employer. Injury to employees. Contractor shall effect and maintain Contractor shall effect and maintain insurance against liability for claims. Against liability for claims. Contractor shall effect Contractor shall effect and maintain insurance against liability for claims, damages, losses, and expenses, including legal fees and expenses arising out of execution of works in respect of injury, sickness, disease, or death of whatever person employed by contractor or whosoever of contractor's other personnel. Employer shall also be indemnified. Employer shall also be indemnified under policy of insurance, except that this insurance may exclude losses and claims to extent that they arise from whatever act or neglect of employer or of employer's personnel. Insurance shall be maintained in full force and effect during whole time that contractor's personnel are assisting Insurance shall be maintained in full force and effect during whole time that contractor personnel are assisting or assist in driving process. Insurance shall be maintained in full force and effect during whole time that contractor's personnel are assisting in execution of works for whatever person employed by subcontractor. Insurance may be affected by subcontractor, but contractor shall be responsible for subcontractor's compliance with this clause. Other insurances required by law and local practice. Contractors shall provide all other insurances required by laws of countries where whatever part of works are being carried out at contractor's own cost. Other insurances required by local practice. Local practice, if it is valid, shall be detailed in contract data, and contractor shall provide such insurances in compliance with details given at contractor's own cost. हमने इंश्योरेंसेस के बारे में जाना. जो भी इंश्योरेंस लॉ के हिसाब से ज़रूरी है, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट के हिसाब से ज़रूरी है, हर एक्टिविटी की करानी है, हर पर्सन की व्यक्ति की करानी है. परफॉर्मेंस स्पेसिफिकेशन, परफॉर्मेंस बेसिस, और साथ में employers other insurance required by local practice shall be detailed. It's true. हमें सोचना है कि हम किस चीज़ की इंश्योरेंस कराएंगे. पूरे काम की, पूरी जिम्मेदारी की होनी चाहिए. इसमें दोनों की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बन जाए. बाइंडिंग है एम्प्लॉयर की और कॉन्ट्रैक्टर की. वो पढ़ाते हैं पढ़ने की, सीखने की, और नहीं करते. इंश्योरेंस डिज़ाइन की भी ज़रूरी है, इंश्योरेंस वर्क की भी ज़रूरी है, इंश्योरेंस सभी वर्क के लोगों की, एम्प्लॉयज़ की ज़रूरी है। और ये मजाक नहीं है, खेल नहीं है। इंश्योरेंस हमारे से नहीं होती, कह देना ठीक नहीं है। कोई भी काम हम करें उसमें हम खुद और साथ में ठेकेदार, सॉरी एम्प्लॉयर, दोनों की बाइंडिंग है। अकाउंटेबिलिटी के लिए, लायबिलिटीज़ के लिए। कोई भी इंश्योरेंस करानी है, ज़रूरी है। आप नहीं कराएंगे तो वो कराएगा एम्प्लॉयर, और रिकवर कर लेगा। जो उसने करानी है वो कराएगा, जो ठेकेदार ने करानी है वो ठेकेदार कराएगा। जो भी कंडीशंस कहते हैं उसके हिसाब से, जो भी नियम कानून कहते हैं उसके हिसाब से। आप बच नहीं सकते इससे। इसलिए इंश्योरेंस को बहुत बारीकी से देखना होगा बिड के टाइम भी, क्योंकि इसमें एक्सपेंसेस तो आने हैं। और जो भी आप कराते हैं वर्क की, मशीन की, वर्कर्स की, वो भी क्लियर टर्म्स होनी चाहिए। Employers and contractor claims, very important chapter. दावा, क्लेम्स आसान नहीं है क्लेम्स को समझना। एम्प्लॉयर्स एंड कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स क्लेम्स कब होंगे, कैसे होंगे? सोचिए, दावे किस बात के? A contract, a claim, both are important. If when claim may arise, question is, if employer considers that employer is entitled to whatever additional payment from contractor or reduction in contract price and or to an extension of defects notification period. If contractor considers that contractor is entitled to whatever additional payment from employer and or to EOT or extension of time, or if either party considers that it is entitled another entitlement or sales If either party considers that it is entitled to another entitlement of relief or relief against other party, such either such other entitlement or relief may be of whatever kind whatsoever, including in connection with whatever certificate, determination, instruction, notice, opinion, or valuation of employer. It's very complicated statement here. It says if either party if either party considers that it's entitled to another entitlement or relief against other party, such other entitlement or relief may be of whatever kind, whatever whatsoever, including in connection with whatever certificate, determination, instruction, notice, issue, whatever notice, whatever party, such other entitlement relief may be of whatever kind, whatsoever, including connection with certificate, determination, instruction, notice, opinion, or valuation of employer, except to the extent that it involves any entitlement referred to subparagraph A or B. In case of clear subparagraph A and B, A or B above, claims for payment and duty shall apply. In case of claim under paragraph C above, where other party has disagreed with requested entitlement or relief, or is deemed to have disagreed, if it does not respond in case of a claim under subparagraph above, where other party has disagreed with requested entitlement or relief, or is deemed to have disagreed if it does not respond within a reasonable time, items or is deemed to have disagreed if it does not respond within a reasonable time, a dispute shall not be deemed to have arisen, but claiming party may, by giving a notice, refer claim to employer's representative, and agreement or determination shall apply. Notice refer claim to employer's representative under agreement or determination shall apply. This notice shall be given as soon as practicable after claiming party becomes says this notice shall be given as soon as practicable after claiming party becomes aware of disagreement or deemed disagreement, and shall include details of claiming party, a case, and other parties' disagreement or deemed disagreement. I repeat, in case of claim under C here, In case of claims under subparagraph C above, where other party has disagreed with request for entitlement or relief, a dispute shall not be deemed to have arisen, but claiming party may, by giving a notice, refer claim to employer's representative, or another agreement or determination shall apply. This notice shall be given as soon as practicable after claiming party becomes aware of this agreement, and include details of claiming party's case and other parties' disagreement or deemed disagreement. Claims for payment or duty. Claims for payment, clause for payment or EOT. Claims for payment or EOT. If either party means either contractor or employer, considers that it is entitled to whatever additional payment by other party, or in case of employer, a reduction in contract price, and or EOT, extension of time in case of contractor, or an extension of DNP, that is defects notification period, in case of employer, under whatever clause of these conditions, or otherwise in connection with contract, following claims procedure shall apply. Notice of claim. Claiming party shall give a notice to other party. Claiming party shall give a notice to other party describing event or circumstances giving rise to cost, loss, delay, or extension of DNP, that is defects notification period, for which claim is made as soon as practicable, and no later than 28 days after claiming party becomes aware. After claiming party became aware, or should have become aware of event or circumstance. Notice of claim in these conditions. If claiming party fails to give a notice of claim, within this period of 28 days, claiming party shall not be entitled to any additional payment. Contract price shall not be reduced in case of employer as claiming party. Time for completion in case of contractor as claiming party, or defects notification period DNP in case of employer as claiming party, shall not be extended, and other party shall be discharged from whatever liability in connection with event or circumstances giving rise to claim. Initial response. If other party considers that claiming party has failed to give notice of claim within period of 28 days under clause notice of claim, other party shall within 14 days after receiving notice of claim give a notice to claiming party accordingly with reasons. If other party does not give such a notice within this period of 14 days, notice of claim shall be deemed to be a valid notice. It says, 14 days after receiving notice of claim, give notice to claims party accordingly with reasons. If other parties does not give such a notice within this period of 14 days, notice of claim shall be deemed to be a valid notice. If claiming party receives a notice from other party under this subclause and disagrees with other party or considers there are circumstances which justify late submission of notice of claims, claiming party shall include in its fully detailed claim under fully detailed claim clause details of such disagreement, why such late submission is reviewed. Such, you can say, details of such disagreement or why such late submission is justified as case may be. If claiming party receives a notice from other party under this subclause and disagrees with other party or considers there are circumstances which justify late submission of notice of claim, claiming party shall include in its fully detailed claim under fully detailed claim clause details of such disagreement or why such late submission is justified as case may be. Contemporary records. Contemporary records clause means records that are prepared or generated at same time or immediately after event or circumstance giving rise to claim. Claiming party shall keep such contemporary records valuable. Claiming party shall keep such contemporary records as may be necessary to substantiate claim. You can say claiming party shall keep such contemporary records as may be necessary to substantiate claim without admitting employer's liability. Employer may monitor contractor's contemporary claims, contemporary records, and claiming party shall keep such contemporary records as may be necessary to substantiate claims. Without admitting employer's liability, employer may monitor. Without admitting employer's liability, employer may monitor contractor's contemporary records. Employer may monitor contractor's contemporary records and or instruct contractor to keep additional contemporary records. Contractor shall permit employer to inspect all these records during normal working hours or at other times agreed by contractor. Fully detailed claims. Fully detailed claims. Fully detailed claims means a submission which includes a detailed description of event or circumstances giving rise to claim, a statement of contractual and or other legal basis of claim, all contemporary records on which claiming party relies, and detailed supporting particulars of amount of additional payment claimed or amount of reduction of contract price in case of employer as claiming party, and or EOT in case of contractor or extension of DNP claimed in case of employer. So, what are these? Description of events or circumstances leading to claim, statement of contractual and or other legal basis of claim, contemporary records on which claim party relies, contemporary records detailed supporting particulars of amount of additional payment claimed or amount of reduction of contract price in case of employer as claiming party, or EOT claimed in case of contractor, or extension of time, extension of DNP claim in case of employer. Now, within 84 days, within 84 days after claiming party becomes aware or should have become aware of event or circumstances giving rise to claim, such other period as may be proposed by claiming party and agreed by other party, that is 84 days means 7 weeks. Claiming party shall submit to employer's representative a fully detailed claim. If within this time limit, claiming party fails to submit statement under the above, notice of claim shall be deemed to have lapsed. It shall no longer be considered as a valid notice. We can say here, if claiming party shall submit to employers represent a fully detailed claim, if within this time limit claiming party fails to submit statement under subparagraph B above, notice of claim shall be deemed to have lapsed. It shall no longer be considered as a valid notice. An employer's representative shall within 14 days after this time limit has expired give a notice to claiming party accordingly. If employer's representative does not give such a notice within this period of 14 days, notice of claim shall be deemed to be a valid notice. Notice of claim shall be deemed to be a valid notice if other party disagrees. If such deemed valid notice of claim, other party shall give a notice to employer. Other party shall if employer representative does not give such a notice within 14 days, some notice of claim shall be deemed to have been valid. If the party disagrees with such deemed valid notice of claim, other party shall give a notice to employer's representative, which shall include details of disagreement. Thereafter, agreement or determination. Thereafter, agreement and determination. Thereafter, agreement or determination of claim under agreement or determination clause of claim shall include a review by employer representative of such disagreement. If claiming party receives a notice from other party under this subclause, and if claiming party disagrees with such notice of consider there are circumstances which justify late submission of such statement under paragraph above, fully detailed claim shall include details of claiming party's disagreement or why such late submission is justified, as case may be. In event of circumstance giving rise to claims as a continuing effect, if event or circumstance giving rise to claims has a continuing effect, claiming of continuing effect shall apply. agreement or determination of claim. It's very important point here. Agreement or determination of claim, and it is very important from every viewpoint. Agreement or determination of claim. After receiving a fully detailed claim, under fully detailed claim clause or an interim or finally fully detailed claim, under claims of continuing effect, employer's representative shall proceed under agreement or determination to agree or determine additional payment to which claiming party is entitled, or reduction of contract price in case of employer as claiming party, and or extension of time for completion before or after its expiry, that is extension of time for completion in case of contractors as claiming party, or extension of any DNP, that is defect notification period, before its expiry. Under subclause, extension of defect notification period in case of employer as claiming party. To which claiming party is entitled under contract. If a notice is given under initial response and or under subclause fully determined claim, claim shall nevertheless be agreed or determined in accordance with subclause. Agreement or determination of claim shall include whether or not notice of claim shall be treated as a valid notice, taking account of details included in fully detailed claim of claiming party. Notice of claim shall be treated as a valid notice, taking account of details included in fully detailed claim of claiming party. Disagreement with such notice or why late submission is justified, as case may be, circumstances which may be taken into account, but shall not be binding, may include. Give me some minutes, please, 5 minutes. I'll be back within 5 minutes. friend is a little late. I have had less. If you notice, is given under subclause. I say it's about claims, and we are ongoing in those claims. Really interesting it is. It not that if you notice is given under subclause initial response and under subclause fully detailed claim. Claim shall nevertheless be agreed or determined in accordance with subclause. Agreement or determination of claim shall include whether or not agreement or determination of claim shall include whether or not notice of claim shall be treated as valid notice, taking account of details included in fully detailed claim of claiming parties disagreement with such notice, or why late submission is justified, as case may be. Circumstances which may be taken into account but shall not be binding. Circumstances which may be taken into account but shall not be binding may include whether or to what extent other party would be prejudiced by acceptance of late submission. Whether or to what extent other party would be prejudiced by acceptance of late submission. In case of time limit under notice of claim, whatever evidence of other parties' prior knowledge of event or circumstance giving rise to claim, which claiming party may include in its supporting particulars, and or in case of time limit fully detailed claim, whatever evidence of other parties' prior knowledge of contractual or legal basis of claim, which claiming party may include in supporting particulars. Let us so again. These are circumstances which may be taken into account may include whether or not, or you say whether or to what extent other party would be prejudiced by acceptance of late submission in case of time limit, notice of claim, evidence of other parties' prior knowledge of event or circumstance giving rise to claim, which claiming party may include in its supporting particulars. In case of time limit, fully detailed claim, evidence of other parties' prior knowledge of contractual and other legal basis of claim, which claiming party may include in its supporting particulars. If having received fully detailed claim under fully detailed claim, or in case of claim under claims of continuing effect, an interim or final fully detailed claim, as case may be, employer's representative requires necessary additional particulars. If having received fully detailed claim, or in case of a claim under claims of continuing effect, an interim or final fully detailed claim, as case may be, employer's representative requires necessary additional particulars. It shall promptly give a notice to contractor describing additional particulars and reasons for requiring them. It shall nevertheless give response on a contractual or other basis of claim by giving a notice to contractor within time limit of agreement, that is time limits clause, as soon as practicable after receiving notice under subparagraph above. Contractor shall submit additional particulars and Employer's representative shall then proceed under subclause agreement or determination to agree or determine matters under subparagraphs above A and B for purpose of time limits. Date employee's representative receives additional particulars from contractor shall be date of commencement of time limit. Claims of continuing effect. Claims of continuing effect. If event or circumstance giving rise to claim under subclause has a continuing effect. If event or circumstance giving rise to claim under this subclause has a continuing effect, fully detailed claim submitted under fully detailed claim shall be considered as interim. Fully detailed claim submitted under above 4. Fully detailed claim shall be considered as interim in respect of this first interim fully detailed claim. Employer's representative shall give its response in contractual or other legal basis of claim by giving a notice to claiming party within time limit for agreement under time limit. After submitting first interim fully detailed claim, claiming party shall submit fully detailed claims at monthly intervals, giving accumulated amount of additional payment claimed or reduction of contract price in case of employer as claiming party and or extension of time claimed in case of contractor as claiming party or extension of DNP in case of employer as claiming party. Claiming party shall submit a final fully detailed claim within 28 days. Claiming party shall submit a final fully detailed claim within 28 days after end of effects resulting from events or circumstance or within such period as may be proposed by claiming party and agreed by other party. This final fully detailed claim shall give total amount of additional payment claimed or reduction of contract price in case of employer as claiming party and or extension of time claimed in case of contractor as claiming party or extension of DNP in case of employer as claiming party. General requirements. After receiving notice of claim, after receiving notice of claim and until claim is agreed or determined under agreement or determination of claim, in each payment clause, under payment clause, employer shall include such amounts for whatever claim as have been reasonably substantiated as due to claiming party under relevant provision of contract. Employer shall only be entitled to claim whatever payment from contractor and or to extend DNP or set off against or make whatever deduction from whatever amount due to contractor by complying with subclause above. Requirements of subclause are in addition to those of whatever other subclause which may apply to claims. If claiming party fails to comply with this or whatever other subclause in relation to claim, whatever additional payment or on EOT and whatever EOT in case of contractor as claiming party or extension of time DNP in case of employer as claiming party shall take account of extent to which failure has prevented or prejudiced proper investigation of claim by employer's representative. That is 20. And as I said, general requirements, I again speak of general requirements in these clauses, which are of course very important. So general requirements speak differently and says, after receiving notice of claim, after receiving notices of claims, you can say, after receiving notice of claim and until claim is agreed or determined under agreement or determination of claim, in each payment under clause 14.7 payment clause, employer shall include such amounts for whatever claim as have been reasonably substantiated as due to claiming party under relevant provision of contract. अगेन आई से नोटिस ऑफ क्लेम मिलने के बाद और जब तक ये क्लेम का फैसला ना हो जाए, इसकी कैलकुलेशन ना हो जाए, डिटर्मिनेशन ना हो जाए एग्रीमेंट और डिटर्मिनेशन क्लॉज के अंदर, एग्रीमेंट और डिटर्मिनेशन ऑफ क्लेम्स क्लॉज के अंदर हर पेमेंट की एम्प्लॉयर उसमें जोड़ सकता है इतना अमाउंट कोई भी क्लेम के लिए जिसको सब्सटेंशिएट किया जा सके, जिसको सपोर्ट किया जा सके क्लेमिंग पार्टी द्वारा। एम्प्लॉयर का अधिकार उतना ही होगा क्लेम पर, कोई भी पेमेंट पर ठेकेदार से लेने का जितना डेट ऑफ, आप कह सकते एक्सटेंशन ऑफ डिफेक्ट्स नोटिफिकेशन पीरियड का। एम्प्लॉयर शैल ओनली बी एंटाइटल्ड टू क्लेम whatever payment from contractor and or to extend defects notification period or set off against or make whatever deduction from whatever amount due to contractor। ज़्यादा एम्प्लॉयर नहीं कर सकेगा, उसकी लिमिट वहीं आके रुक जाती है DNP तक, या कितना कम कर सकता है प्राइस को उस क्लॉज के अंदर जो दिया गया है। The requirements of this subclause are in addition to those of some other subclause. which may apply to claim, and if the claiming party fails to comply with this or whatever other subclause in relation to claim, whatever additional payment or any or whatever EOT, extension of time in case of contractor as claiming party, or extension of DNP, that is defects notification period, in case of employer as claiming party, shall take account of extent to which failure has prevented or prejudiced proper investigation of claim by employer's representative. And it was also claims of continuing effect, लगातार चल रहे effects के ऊपर क्या किया जाए. In event of circumstances giving rise to claims under subclause has a continuing effect. If fully detailed claim submitted under fully detailed claim shall be considered as interim under continuing effect. That fully detailed claim submitted shall be considered as interim fully detailed claim. In respect of this first interim fully detailed claims, employer representative shall give response on contractual or other legal basis of claim by giving a notice to claiming party within time limit of agreement. After submitting first interim fully detailed claim, claiming party shall submit further interim fully detailed claims at monthly intervals, giving accumulated amount of additional payment claimed or reduction of contract price in case of employer as claiming party, and or extension of time claimed in case of contractor as claiming party, or extension of DNP in case of employer as claiming party. Claiming party shall submit a final fully detailed claim. Claiming party shall submit a final fully detailed claim within 28 days after end of effects resulting from event or circumstances, or within such other period as may be proposed by claiming party and agreed by other party. This final fully detailed claim shall give total amount of additional payment claimed or reduction of contract price in case of employer as claiming party, and or extension of time claimed in case of contractor as claiming party, or extension of DNP in case of employer as claiming party. लिस्ट ऑफ क्लेम थोड़ा सा रिवीजन करेंगे. इसमें ये थोड़ा सा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड लग रहा है आप सबके लिए और इसका रिवीजन भी थोड़ा आवश्यक. एग्रीमेंट और डिटर्मिनेशन ऑफ क्लेम से पहले था, बिफोर दिस फुली डिटेल्ड क्लेम. लेट अस स्टार्ट विद देयर कंटेम्पररी रिकॉर्ड्स. व्हाट आर कंटेम्पररी रिकॉर्ड्स? वी एक्सप्लेन टू यू records that are prepared or generated at same time or immediately after event or circumstance giving rise to claim. And here is initial response, notice of claims. Let's concentrate here on fully detailed claim just for revision, little revision, because fully detailed claim, it is very interesting. fully detailed claim, which is actually little bit to reanalyze. Fully detailed claim means submission which includes, as these points are, detailed description of events or circumstances giving rise to claim. This is very important point. Provision, you have to explain, detail out all events or circumstances that lead to rise of claim. And that is very important point. It's not here that we are reading only. We must have some record of this. We have some documents, we have some references, some sequence of information, real information. Otherwise, you cannot claim anything. A statement of contractual or other legal basis of claim. Statement means declaration on which clauses of contract, on which sections of contract, or under which law or reference to law we are going to raise these claims. That statement is not easy. We must have full knowledge of contents of contract as well as applicable laws onto this contract. So first is sequence of events or circumstances on which we refer to or we support those, and then references to contract clauses. This means we have to have thorough knowledge of events as well as we have to understand and refer to analytically to contract provisions or legal provisions. And as we said, contemporary records on which claiming party relies, and contemporary records are very current, as we discussed just now. Immediately we have to record whatever happens, and we have to record means it should not only be recorded in our files, but it should be recorded in contractors' representative files, which means employers' files. Contemporary records must be provided, and then we have to do work on all these three items, and that is detailed supporting particulars of amount of additional payment. We have to work out, we have to analyze, we have to calculate, and then claimed or amount of reduction also. If it is a claim of addition, that can be a claim for reduction in case of employer's claim. So these provisions are for employer's claim as well as for contractor's claim, or amount of reduction of contract price in case of employer's claims, and or extension of time in case of contractor's claim, and also extension of DNP, that is defects notification period, claimed in case of employer. So what do you understand from these points A, B, C and D? Give considerable reflection to homework for both, for employer as well as for contractor, because if either party is interested in raising claims, you must have this backup, and this backup is not easy. You have to understand this. ये जो बैकअप चाहिए ज़रूरी है. अगर ये बैकअप नहीं है तो आप क्लेम नहीं कर पाएंगे, और इसके लिए कंसंट्रेशन चाहिए, कम्युनिकेशन चाहिए, कोऑर्डिनेशन चाहिए. To have all these backups, we require good communication, good coordination, good recording, good reference, good information, good pile up, good links and everything. Because it's a detailed description of event. You have to describe events. It's not one day job, it's not 1 hour job. And events may continue for a couple of days, couple of months. What to do? This means there should be someone who can work on this as coordinator, a detailed description of events or circumstances which you have to record. You have to establish evidence for establishment of evidence of, and then references to contractual provisions. It's not simply evidence. These should be contractually established. This means contracts should accept them. It should not be in air. It should be on contract paper, contract document, contract conditions or specifications or whatever. In precedence of contract documents, we have to understand and refer to them. That is what you can say contractual statement. We have to form based on contractual conditions or law conditions, statute conditions, legal basis where we have some right as a contractor or as employer, both. And all contemporary records on which claiming party relies. It means record is record. You cannot say 1 year past time this happened. So these 3 points, which are description of events or circumstances, statement of contractual references and legal references, contemporary records, all these 3 require records. All these 3 require backup. You must have. Reliance you cannot just give. It should be solid reliance. It cannot be hypothetical or skeptical. It should be descriptive and in writing or in documentary form. And it should be in knowledge of both claimants. It should be knowledge of employer as well as in knowledge of claimant, or this contract you may say, or the case of claimant as employers and knowledge of contractor. And then these are records. We have to work out. Complete details. And that working out is also very potential work, very powerful work, which cannot be just taken for granted. This detailed supporting particles of amount of additional payment which is being claimed by either party, this detailed supporting particulars should be worked out. We have to reach that amount of additional payment based on real calculations, based on real data, based on real contract price, and whether it is extension of time based claim or it is DNP based claim, whatever it is, we have to work out thoroughly. खेल से नहीं, कर्म से, calculation से, दिमाग से, record से, we have to do that. It's important for both parties. Therefore, not by speech, not by declaration, but by work, by records, by documents. And also, when we do it, within certain period, when you can say when 84 days after claiming, party became aware or should have become aware of event or circumstances giving rise to claim, or such other period as may be proposed by claiming party and agreed by other party, mutual agreement of time duration or maximum 7 weeks. Claiming party must submit or shall submit to employer's representative a fully detailed claim, but a notice must have been given earlier according to other contract conditions, and which are generally 28 days in normal cases. And also, claiming party shall submit to employer representative a fully detailed claim within time limit. Claiming party fails to submit, in case it doesn't submit, I mean to say if within this time limit claiming party fails to submit statement under above consideration, notice of claim shall be deemed to have lapsed and it shall no longer be considered as valid notice. Employer's representative shall within 14 days after this time limit has expired After receiving that, in 14 days, if employer representative gives a notice to claiming party, it happens accordingly. It shall no longer be considered valid. The employer's representative shall, within 14 days after this time limit is expired, gives a notice to claiming party accordingly. If employer's representative does not give such notice, if employer's representative does not give such a notice, within this period of 14 days, notice of claim shall be deemed to be valid one. That is the point here. This means employer's representative must have knowledge of all these procedures and provisions. And if other party disagrees with such deemed valid notice of claim, other party shall give a notice to employer's representative, which include details of disagreement. We have to justify why you are not accepting this. Thereafter, agreement or determination of claims, that is, under agreement or determination of claim, shall include a review by employer's representative of such disagreement. If claiming party receives a notice from other party under this, and if claiming party disagrees with such notice or considers there are circumstances which justify late submission of statement under paragraph above, fully detailed claim shall include details of claiming party's disagreement or why such submission is justified. इस झगड़े में, इस बहस में कि टाइम इसका हुआ नहीं हुआ, इसका क्या किया जाए, नोटिस आया जाए, माना जाए, ना माना जाए, दोनों के जो भी डिसएग्रीमेंट्स हैं, अगर वो एम्प्लॉयर की तरफ से है या वो कॉन्ट्रैक्टर की तरफ से है, दोनों डिसएग्रीमेंट किसी भी केस में आपको जस्टिफाई करने पड़ेंगे कि टाइम डिले कैसे हुआ, अगर हुआ तो, या लापरवाही थी, अगर किसी वजह से रीज़न है, कारण बनता है, सब्सटेंस है कि जस्ट देर हो गई, कोई भी रीज़न रहा हो, कोई इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं थी, अगर वो जस्टिफाइड है तो चलेगा, नहीं जस्टिफाइड है तो नहीं चलेगा. In event of circumstance giving rise to claim has a continuing effect, continuing effect है तो continuing effect चलेगा. ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है. हम सिर्फ एनालाइज कर रहे हैं, समझने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. वी आर जस्ट ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड हाउ दिस क्लेम्स वर्क्स, बिकॉज engineers deal with this, and engineer has to understand. Not only contract engineer, I mean to say engineer who is responsible for this project, but also contractor agent or contracts in charge must understand these contracts. Not only contractor in charge, but also I think those people who work for contractor, senior position people like like you can say construction organizer or construction leader or contracts leader of contractor, they must have thorough understanding about these claims, about these contract provisions, because ultimately they are authorized to deal with contracts, and in particular it's responsibility of project leader, or you can say project organizing manager, because these are very high profile correspondences, and these are claims constituted under contract provisions. These are not site technical queries or engineering queries. These are something which impact on time, cost, and all other requirements of contract, and also these relate to formation of constitution of future disputes that may be resolved through DAAB or through arbitration proceedings. An agreement or determination of claim after receiving a fully detailed claim or an interim or final fully detailed claim under claims of continuing effect, employer's representative shall proceed under agreement or determination to agree or determine. I like to close it here because already it is more than 3 hours and We'll be back again next time. Maybe we understand better, we think of better by that time. And meanwhile, I take your leave from this work, and I think we have done good by analyzing this continuously. And I think it's better. We will be back. I hope you like it. Thank you very much, gentlemen.